Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, as we dive into one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that continues to excite collectors, hobbyists, and treasure hunters everywhere. And today we are going to talk about the unbelievable claim that a 1973 D1-cent coin, a simple penny you might think has no real value, is said to be worth an eye-watering $65 million because of the rare, shocking, and almost impossible errors and mistakes that may have occurred during its minting. And as we explore the possibilities behind its enormous value, we will take you on a journey into the details, mysteries, and hidden features that make this particular coin a legend among collectors. Because while a regular 1973 D penny is extremely common with hundreds of millions minted, the idea that a single example or a handful of examples could carry unique mint errors capable of skyrocketing its value to millionaire levels makes people rush to examine their change, check old jars, inspect pocket money, and look through inherited coin collections just in case they are holding a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that could change everything. And the story begins with the Denver Mint's production in 1973, a year known for high output but also known among error researchers for unusual striking anomalies, planchette issues, die deterioration, and experimental processes that sometimes produce strange oddities. And when a coin carries the D Mint mark from Denver, we know exactly where it came from. But what we do not always know is what kinds of mistakes may have occurred during the striking process, whether a wrong metal planchette may have slipped in, whether a die was misaligned, whether the pressure applied during striking malfunctioned, whether the coin was double-struck, off-centered, broad-struck, or whether something even rarer happened, like leftover planchets from previous years or foreign coins being struck accidentally, and these extremely rare possibilities are where the unbelievable value of $65 million begins to appear, because collectors know that when a mint error is not only extremely rare but also visually striking and historically significant, the price can reach levels that feel unreal. And the 1973 D penny has become a subject of fascination for stories claiming the existence of certain unique unconfirmed errors so dramatic they elevate the coin to mythical status. And when we talk about errors that could justify such a gigantic price tag, we must consider what kind of mistakes are theoretically capable of achieving that. For example, a 1973 D penny accidentally struck on a bronze planchette with different metal content, or on an experimental aluminum planchette similar to the famous 1974 aluminum cent experiments, or even on foreign planchets used for coins of other countries, which sometimes happened in US mints. And if a 1973 D penny were struck on the wrong metal entirely, such as a silver transitional planchette or something with different weight and composition, collectors would go wild for it because such an error would be considered once in a generation. And then there is the possibility of a double die error so strong and extreme that every feature on both the obverse and reverse appears dramatically doubled, not just subtle doubling that requires magnification, but bold, sharp, unmistakable doubling visible to the naked eye, something that could make the date 1973 appear doubled. The mint mark D show clear separation lines, Lincoln's profile display multiple outlines, and the lettering on both sides show deep doubled impressions. And a double die of that magnitude could transform the coin into a holy grail among error coins, multiplying its demand and value astronomically because collectors prioritize uniqueness above everything else. And even though the famous double die Lincoln cents are usually associated with other years like 1955 or 1972, the thought of an extreme double die appearing on a 1973 D cent fuels the excitement surrounding its potential multi-million-dollar value. And then we consider the potential for triple striking, where the coin is struck not once, not twice, but 3 times, each strike slightly out of alignment, creating a ghostly lead effect on every part of the coin. Or a broad strike error so wide and misshapen that it becomes an object of fascination, or a die cap error where the coin sticks to the die and strikes multiple coins afterward, becoming distorted and stretched into a mushroom-like shape that collectors prize highly because such errors are incredibly rare. And if a 1973 D cent were discovered with one or more of these extreme errors combined, such as a double strike plus wrong planchette plus off-center design, the value could skyrocket beyond the imagination of the average collector. And the possibility of such a dramatic combination of errors occurring on a single penny minted in 1973 fuels the belief that somewhere, perhaps in private collections or forgotten drawers, such a legendary coin may exist. And this belief is what pushes the speculation of its value into the tens of millions, because the coin market thrives on rarity, uniqueness, and historical oddities. And another intriguing possibility is that the mint could have accidentally used a leftover die from previous years, creating a transitional die error where the date or design elements do not fully match the intended year, and though such an event would be nearly impossible, the coin collecting world knows that the US Mint has made mistakes before, some even stranger and more unbelievable than this, so the idea that a 1973 AD coin with mismatched dies or experimental materials could exist is not completely out of the realm of possibility, and such an anomaly would be priceless in the eyes of advanced collectors and investors willing to pay any amount to own the only known example in the world, and when we imagine a collector bidding on such a coin at an auction, the value can shoot up absurdly high because wealthy investors compete for rare items that symbolize history, uniqueness, and prestige, and if two or more collectors desperately wanted to acquire the coin, the price could climb into the tens of millions in minutes, making a $65 million sale not impossible but a dramatic example of how high the demand for unprecedented rare errors can go, and of course another factor contributing to the extreme value is eye appeal, because when an error coin not only has a rare mistake but also appears visually stunning, bold, dramatic, or unusual in a way that makes it instantly recognizable, collectors treat it like a masterpiece, and they are willing to pay enormous sums for a coin that stands out in appearance as well as rarity, and the concept of a 1973 D penny with a mirror-like proof finish struck by accident, or a coin with misaligned dies creating a dramatic shift in imagery, or a coin showing retained cud breaks where parts of the die cracked and produced raised lumps of metal on the surface, anything visually spectacular can push the value upward, and when we think about all these different categories of errors, mistakes, metal anomalies, die failures, striking problems, planchette defects, and transitional blunders, it becomes clear that the story of the 1973 D penny reaching $65 million is rooted in the idea that a single coin could possess an almost impossible combination of factors that elevate it far beyond ordinary rare coins, turning it into an icon of numismatic fantasy and excitement, a symbol of what makes coin collecting so fascinating, because the possibility that such a coin exists encourages people everywhere to look carefully at their pennies, to appreciate how something so small can carry so much history and mystery. And even though most 1973 D pennies are common, circulated, and worth only face value, the dream that one exceptional example could be hiding in someone's collection fuels the passion and curiosity that keeps the hobby alive, and the idea of discovering such a treasure is why collectors inspect every detail, every mark, every strike, measuring weight, checking composition, examining the edges, looking for doubled images, unusual colors, off-center designs, or anything that stands out, because with coins, the smallest detail can make the biggest difference, and the thought of a penny worth $65 million encourages even beginners to join the hunt, hoping they will be the lucky ones, hoping they can be part of the incredible world where one small, copper-colored coin becomes a life-changing discovery. And so as you listen to this story and imagine the possibilities that surround this legendary 1973 D 1-cent coin, remember that the beauty of coin collecting lies not just in the coins themselves but in the stories, mysteries, and dreams they represent, and maybe someday someone will uncover a 1973 D penny with errors so extraordinary, so rare, and so breathtaking that it truly becomes one of the most valuable coins ever found. And until that day comes, the excitement, curiosity, and endless fascination with the coins we hold in our pockets will continue to inspire new collectors, fuel dreams of hidden fortune, and keep the world of numismatics alive with wonder. Next, 1988 D 1-cent USA coin. Today as we dive into another unbelievable story from the world of rare coins, a place where ordinary pocket change can suddenly transform into life-changing treasure, and in this video we're exploring the mystery, hype, tales, errors, rumors, and extraordinary circumstances surrounding the astonishing claim that a seemingly common 1988 D 1-cent coin could be worth an unimaginable $70 million, a number so massive that it immediately captures attention and sparks curiosity among collectors, beginners, treasure hunters, and anyone fascinated by how a simple penny minted in Denver during a routine production year could end up being talked about as one of the most valuable coins in the world. So settle in as we take you on a deep, uninterrupted journey through the potential errors, minting anomalies, dramatic mistakes, hypothetical combinations of rare circumstances, misstrikes, metal issues, die problems, and all the surprising possibilities that enthusiasts and experts speculate about when discussing what might justify such an eye-popping value for a tiny copper-coated coin that most people would never look at twice, because the story of the 1988 D penny is not just about metal and mint marks, but about the never-ending excitement of what might be hiding inside your change. the ongoing passion of collectors who examine every detail under magnification, and the thrill of imagining that something as small as 1 cent could turn out to be an ultra-rare masterpiece created by accident, overlooked by nearly everyone, quietly waiting to be discovered. When we look at the 1988 D penny, at first glance it appears just like millions of others produced in the late 1980s, struck at the Denver Mint during a time when billions of Lincoln cents were already circulating, but it becomes fascinating when we begin to examine all the tiny things that could have gone wrong at the mint, those rare combinations of errors that can elevate a coin from ordinary to legendary. And collectors often imagine scenarios that become the foundation of these extraordinary value claims, such as the possibility that a small batch of 1988 D coins might have been accidentally struck using leftover dies from a previous year, or mismatched obverse and reverse dies that create a transitional design error, something that has occurred in other years and instantly becomes extremely valuable when it happens, because when a coin is struck with the wrong die pairing, especially one that includes subtle changes in lettering, spacing, or design updates, it creates a rarity that stands out from the entire production of that year. One of the most talked about possibilities is the idea that the 1988 D penny could exist in a transitional variety featuring the reverse design intended for the following year, something that has actually happened with the famous and highly sought-after 1988 penny with the 1989 reverse, often identified by specific features like the designer's initials, the shape of the lettering, the spacing near the Lincoln Memorial and the overall style of the engraving, and if a Denver minted example with an extreme or dramatic version of this error existed in flawless condition, collectors could theoretically imagine it achieving astronomical prices due to its uniqueness, rarity, and historical significance in showing how the mint accidentally mixed components during the transition. Another realm of possibility comes from the minting process itself, which involves dies, planchets, pressure levels, feeder mechanisms and alignment, and any malfunction in these steps can produce errors such as double strikes, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, rotated dies, or misaligned dies, each of which can make a coin valuable, and while these errors usually bring hundreds or thousands of dollars, extreme versions in flawless or unique condition can reach far higher values, sparking imaginations about how a truly exceptional 1988 D error could conceptually reach a multi-million-dollar valuation, especially if paired with a transitional element or struck on a rare metal. Speaking of metal, another possibility collectors consider when hearing about massive values is the chance that a coin was struck on the wrong planchet, meaning instead of being made from its intended copper-plated zinc composition, it might have been accidentally struck on something like a leftover bronze planchet from earlier years, an experimental planchet, a foreign coin planchet being tested at the mint, or another type of metal that accidentally found its way into the presses, and wrong. Planchet errors have a long history of selling for tremendous amounts of money when they are authenticated and extremely rare, so the idea of a 1988 D penny struck on a wildly unexpected metal type is enough to fuel rumors, excitement, and speculation. Another angle that adds to the fascination with the 1988 D penny is the mint mark itself, because a Denver minted coin with an exceptionally dramatic mint mark error, such as a repunched mint mark, overpunched mint mark, distorted mint mark or a mint mark positioned in the wrong place, could contribute to its uniqueness, and collectors love repunched mint marks from older years. So discovering an extreme example on a more modern coin would create a buzz, especially if paired with other errors. Beyond physical mistakes, value can also skyrocket when a coin exists in a grade so perfect and pristine that it stands alone at the top of the population, meaning no other example is as flawless, and high-grade modern coins can sometimes sell for outrageous amounts because they are nearly impossible to find without scratches, marks or wear. So if a 1988 D penny surfaced in a perfect grade with a major error, collectors could dream up staggering values due to the one-of-a-kind nature of such a piece. Additionally, there are theories about mule errors, where the front of one coin is paired with the reverse of another denomination entirely, something extremely rare but possible in minting history, and the discovery of a mule involving a 1988 D penny would ignite the numismatic world, creating headlines and unbelievable auction speculation. Each of these hypothetical scenarios contributes to the ongoing fascination with stories that suggest a penny could be worth $70 million, because while no confirmed sale of a 1988 D penny for such an amount has ever occurred, the excitement lies in the idea that rare combinations of mistakes, historical mint transitions, extreme preservation, unusual metal compositions and 1 in a billion accidents could align to produce a coin so unique that collectors and investors would compete to own it with astronomical bids. The idea also taps into the passion many people have for searching through their change, examining each penny closely, looking for double dies, die cracks, cuds, ghosting, misaligned issues, missing details, extra thickness in lettering, strange surfaces, planchette laminations, unusual toning patterns, and any other unusual trait that might point to a minting anomaly. Because the possibility that a life-changing treasure might be hiding in an ordinary jar of coins keeps the hobby alive with anticipation and wonder. Some collectors imagine that a 1988 D penny could become famous not only because of physical errors, but also because of historical or dramatic backstories, such as being part of an experimental run, a prototype that escaped the mint, a test strike meant only for internal use, or a coin handled by accident during design transitions. And even though these stories often remain in the realm of speculation, they add fuel to the idea that rare coins can achieve mythical status. The value of $70 million also reflects the way people think about rarity multiplied by condition multiplied by collector demand multiplied by historical importance, because when all of these factors come together at an extreme level, coin values can reach heights that seem unbelievable. And although the actual market realities for a modern penny are more grounded, the storytelling, the mystery, and the passion for the unknown keep these legendary figures alive in the community, drawing people into long discussions about what could make a coin so valuable. Enthusiasts often debate details like die markers, the shape of the FG initials, formation of the lettering on the word America, spacing between the Lincoln Memorial columns, thickness of the date, shape of the mint mark, metal color under different lighting, and the tiny imperfections caused by wear or striking anomalies. And these debates help build an aura of detective work around rare coins, making the search for the perfect or unknown example a thrilling adventure. As we continue diving deeper into why such extraordinary values capture the imagination, it becomes clear that people love the idea of rarity hiding in plain sight, the thrill of possibility, and the hope that even a common-looking 1988 D penny could turn out to be something the world has never seen before, because every great coin discovery begins with curiosity. And even if the $70 million figure lives more in exciting storytelling than in confirmed market reality, the passion for numismatics thrives on these stories, and each new rumor or report inspires more people to look closely at their coin. Last 1989, a D1 cent USA coin, we dive into another fascinating and mind-blowing story from the world of rare coins where simple everyday pennies can transform into multi-million-dollar treasures. And today we are exploring one of the most unbelievable tales ever, the astonishing case of the 1989 D1 cent coin that has been reported to reach an unbelievable value of $75 million because of the unique combination of errors, mistakes, anomalies, minting surprises, and the sheer rarity that has captured the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters everywhere. So settle in and get ready as we explore every possible detail, every subtle imperfection, every minting irregularity, and every factor that collectors believe contributes to this coin's extraordinary worth, because understanding why such an ordinary-looking coin can command a fortune involves a journey deep into numismatic mystery, minting history, and the unpredictable world of error coins that sometimes shake the entire hobby with their unexpected discoveries. When we talk about the 1989 D penny being valued at such an astonishing price, we must understand that this number isn't just based on hype or excitement, but on the theoretical possibility that several extremely rare errors may have converged on a single specimen, transforming what should have been a standard Denver-minted Lincoln cent into a once-in-a-lifetime marvel. And to begin, one of the first and most talked-about possibilities is the intriguing double-die obverse error, where the design elements on the front of the coin, such as the date, Lincoln's portrait, or the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," appear double due to misalignment during the hubbing process, creating a striking visual effect that collectors instantly recognize as a high-value anomaly, because even minor doubling can attract attention, but dramatic doubling, particularly involving the date or the mint mark, can propel a coin into the realm of extraordinary rarity, especially when combined with other mistakes. There is also the possibility of a mispunched or repunched mint mark, known among collectors as an RPM, which occurs when the small d mint mark was punched into the die more than once or in a slightly shifted position, creating a layered or shadow-like effect that stands out under magnification. And while RPMs are not unheard of, having one from 1989 that is sharply visible and paired with other dramatic errors could significantly elevate the coin's value, because collectors love combinations of errors rather than single anomalies. Adding to the intrigue, There are theories about off-center strikes, an error that happens when the planchette and the die are not properly aligned during the strike, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted dramatically to one side, with more severe off-centering errors fetching higher premiums. And when you imagine an off-center strike on a coin that already has doubling or other striking anomalies, you start to understand why collectors speculate about astronomical values. Some experts have even suggested the possibility of a broad strike error, where the collar that normally shapes the rim of the coin fails to contain the planchette during striking, resulting in a wider, flatter, and somewhat distorted appearance, something that instantly distinguishes the coin from normal circulation pieces and heightens its rarity when paired with other major mistakes. There is also ongoing discussion among collectors about the possibility of transitional planchette errors, which occur when a coin is struck on metal intended for a different year or denomination. And although rare for this period, such errors have occurred throughout minting history, so the idea that a 1989 D penny could have been mistakenly struck on a leftover bronze planchette instead of the post-1982 copper-plated zinc composition, or even on a dime planchette or foreign coin blank, adds another layer of excitement, because coins struck on the wrong metal often command extraordinarily high prices due to their unmistakable difference in weight, tone, and ring, making them favorites among advanced collectors. Another factor believed to contribute to this coin's supposed $75 million valuation is die cracks and die breaks, where flaws in the metal die create raised lines or even dramatic cuts on the struck coins, and such errors are not only visually striking but can also indicate the coin came from a very limited production window, which increases scarcity and desirability, especially for collectors who focus on die variety chains and minting stages that can tell a story about the coin's creation and the machinery used. Furthermore, the possibility of a mule error has been discussed, which is one of the rarest minting mistakes in the world, occurring when the obverse of one coin and the reverse of another are accidentally paired together, resulting in a coin that should not exist according to mint records. While a mule from 1989 D has not been confirmed, the theoretical existence of one would easily justify an enormous valuation due to the extreme rarity and the history surrounding previous mule discoveries in the numismatic world. Some collectors even speculate about dramatic misalignments of the die itself, where one die is properly positioned while the other is slightly rotated or shifted, resulting in uneven impressions or tilted designs that give the coin a unique appearance. And although such errors can range from subtle to intense, the rarest and most extreme examples often attract the highest bids in auctions. Then we have the intriguing possibility of a double-struck coin, where the coin is struck once and then struck again without being properly ejected from the press, creating layered images, shadowed outlines, or partially duplicated design elements. And double strikes, especially rotated double strikes, are among the most valuable errors known, and when combined with any of the other theoretical mistakes already mentioned, they can create a one-of-a-kind coin worth unimaginable amounts. Another angle collectors consider is the sheer condition of the coin, because even the rarest errors lose value if the coin is heavily worn, scratched, or damaged, so the idea of a pristine 1989 D-era penny surviving untouched, perhaps forgotten in a sealed roll or an old mint set, adds to the mystique, as collectors know that coins preserved in higher grades often multiply their value exponentially, particularly when they also carry major minting mistakes. Many speculate that if such a coin were graded by the top certification agencies at the highest levels, such as MS68 or MS69, the combination of condition and errors could skyrocket the price far beyond conventional valuation models, pushing it into legendary status and making it the centerpiece of any advanced numismatic collection. Others point to the possibility of die polishing errors where excessive polishing removes key design elements like parts of Lincoln's beard, details in the memorial columns, or even portions of the motto, giving the coin a ghostly, unusual appearance that collectors find captivating and incredibly rare when sharply visible. There's also the chance of a clip planchette error where the edge of the coin has a crescent-shaped missing section due to improper sheet punching, and while clip planchettes alone are valuable, pairing them with doubling, off-centering, or rotational misstrikes could create a specimen so unique that it becomes truly priceless in the eyes of collectors. Some enthusiasts also point to potential strike-through errors, where a foreign object such as a piece of felt, thread, wire, metal fragment, or grease got in the way during striking, leaving a distinct impression or indentation on the coin, and strike-throughs can vary dramatically in value depending on the size and clarity of the object's imprint, meaning a large or unusual strike-through on the obverse or reverse could dramatically raise the coin's worth. With all these possibilities combined, the idea of a unique 1989 AD penny accumulating so many errors, anomalies, and striking oddities that its value skyrockets to $75 million becomes a thrilling narrative for collectors who dream of finding such a treasure in their pocket change or coin jars. And although the chances of discovering such a coin remain incredibly slim, the excitement, speculation, and fascination are what make the hobby so enjoyable, giving everyday people the hope that one of the most valuable coins in the world could be sitting quietly in their home, waiting to be discovered. This fascination with rare pennies also sparks discussions about the unpredictability of minting machinery, the possibility of human error, the role of maintenance lapses, and even the chance of rare experimental processes being tested at the Denver Mint during certain periods, which further fuels speculation that unusual or previously undocumented error varieties may still be uncovered one day. As collectors continue to search rolls, examine old jars, inspect inherited collections, and scour antique stores in hopes of finding this mythical multimillion-dollar 1989 AD penny, the legend grows, reminding us that coin collecting is not just about metal and mint marks, but about history, mystery, curiosity, and the thrill of discovery, because every coin tells a story, and some stories are so extraordinary that they ignite worldwide fascination, leading people to dream big, look closely, and never underestimate the power of an ordinary coin that carries an extraordinary mistake.